Well, I am pretty good. I've been working out this afternoon.
Flowers and resin.
Tired, but
These are like little flower petals.
yeah.
Mesdames et messieurs, salut et bienvenue. I'm Felicia Landre, president of Paisley Moliere 400 in 2022, a huge statewide arts endeavor begun by the late Kip Niven. I don't have to tell you that we live in stressful times. You are here because you know that the arts are humanity's refuge from the darkness, as well as illumination for the way ahead. Moliere's plays are one small ray of light shining on our human condition from all art forms and all period styles, including range from classic to contemporary. We celebrate Moliere's work because he chose comedy as his medium of expression, and we never outgrow our need for comedy. In addition, we recognize Moliere's staying power. After 375 years, he continues among the most produced playwrights in the entire world. Of course, that's because he made fun of pretensions, hypocrisies, and other foibles that still show up in our own time. We are eager to get to our samplings of Moliere read by Kansas City celebrities, so I will be very brief with a couple of introductions and then instructions about your technical buttons. Your board of directors has been working harder than anyone for nearly 2.5 years now to make our celebrations of Moliere, his plays, the spirit of comedy, French culture, and the French heritage of Kansas City enrich the lives of as many as possible. Board members, please say something when I introduce you so that your bodies will light up. Sarah Ingram Iser, Vice President.
Well, welcome and thank you all for being here.
Do you want to?
Jim Weitzel, Treasurer.
Good evening. Glad you all could join us.
Rebecca Smith, Secretary.
Hello, we're thrilled with our program tonight. Hope you will be too.
Okay.
Patricia Hamarstrom Williams, who also chairs our Press and Publications Committee.
Happy Moliere birthday, everybody. Hope you have a good time.
There's so many others that I would like to introduce at this time, but I trust you will look at the impressive list on page 3 of your program, and you can click on it in the chat box. However, I want to give our amazing newsletter editor, website calendar manager, and book club chair, Chantal Roberts, a moment to say something about the Moliere Book Club.
Hello, everybody. I'm Chantal. I do a lot for Moliere, including keeping everybody on task with the calendars. And we've started a little book club. You can RSVP for the book club on Meetup. I'll put the link in the chat later on. And we routinely every 2 weeks talk about a new play by Moliere. And it's not a very stuffy, all intellectual kind of thing, because I think one of the last ones that we did, we talked about how Taylor Swift and Moliere happen to be interrelated. And I mean, who doesn't know how Moliere has influenced Taylor Swift? So if you want to have that kind of conversation every 2 weeks, be sure to join us for the book club. Thanks.
Thank you, Chantal, for this and for your handling of the Evite invitations and all else you've done to prepare tonight's celebration. Mayor Quentin Lucas was not able to join us this year, but he'll be with us for the 400th year from today. He sends his good wishes for our endeavors. In my view, everyone who came out tonight to support us is an honored celebrity personage, or in Becky Smith's words, one of the Kansas City glitterati. Rebecca Smith, you are the most extraordinary and gracious party planner. Will you speak and show yourself for a moment while we reflect on your fantastic job of bringing together tonight's cast of Kansas City celebrities?
Thank you, Felicia. We also want to acknowledge that As Moliere would turn 399 today, Martin Luther King would turn 92. And we honor both as giants of the spoken and written word, who in very different ways shone a light on the ills and failures and needs of society, and who left us invaluable legacies. What we have tonight is essentially the overture to a 12-month-long concert of Moliere activities, which will culminate in the big 400th birthday celebration a year from now. I was sort of cheered to see that overture actually comes from the Old French, and it signifies an opening to something grand, something substantial, and we feel like we are offering that. We hope that you'll check out the website and look at the calendar of upcoming events that might interest you. And now on to Moliere.
Thank you, Becky. We are very lucky tonight to have Nicole Marie Green at the controls and recording the evening for us. Nicole, would you say something so that we can see you for a moment as we contemplate our appreciation for your help?
Absolutely. Thank you all for having me. I'm normally an actor. I never thought I'd be a stage manager, let alone a Zoom stage manager, but I'm here to help with all the clicking. And these folks have put so much time and effort, and I can attest to it. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful evening. So thank you for having me, and thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Nicole. And now, before we begin, a bit of housekeeping. Everyone other than our speakers should be muted. You can find the mute option on the lower left hand of your screen. It's the little image of a microphone. Click that so that you get a strikeout slash through the microphone. Readers, you will need to be alert to unmute yourselves at the start of your sequence. Everyone should also turn off your video during the program. To do this, you click the small image of a video camera, also located in the lower left of your Zoom screen, so that you get a slash through the camera image. We'd love to see you again at the end of the program, and there will be time for socializing if you so choose. In case there's anyone new to Zoom, let me explain that you have two viewing choices. One choice is the full screen view of the person speaking. To do it this way, go to the upper right corner of your screen and click Speaker View. The better choice will let you see the 2 or 3 readers in a scene together. To see only them, go back to the lower left corner next to your camera icon and find the small arrow pointing up. Click that arrow and then click Settings and check the box that says Hide Non-Video Participants. This will get rid of all the small black boxes with names in them and allow you just to see the performers on the screen. Despite all our careful preparations, any event relying on technology is subject to unforeseen glitches. To paraphrase TCG leader Teresa Eyring, if 2020 taught us anything, it's to give each other grace and be patient. Well, now let's begin our program. Readers, please be ready so that as I introduce your selection, you will turn on your video and unmute yourself. So for the first reading, let's see Calvin Arsenia, Matt Schrader, and Hillary Clemens. And the rest of you, if you find that box and get rid of your screens for the moment, that would be great.
Before I speak, I want to be sure you won't flatter me. Be blunt. Say what you think.
Let me introduce you first. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, good. You disappeared. I didn't know what was happening.
Okay. Yes, I'm a little bit unsure of what I should be clicking, but okay.
I'm just glad the audience is going to get to hear that line twice.
You'll hear that line again. The Forced Marriage premiered at court in 1664 as a comédie ballet. The genre Molière invented to blend his comedy with dance interludes and music composed by Lully. The king himself, Louis XIV, danced the role of the gypsy. Well, nowadays, this piece is most often performed without the music as a one-act farce. It has plenty of knockabout physical comedy and clever send-ups of self-important philosophers, each with his own rigid view that excludes any opposing ideas. We will hear an excerpt from the opening scene by readers who scarcely need introduction. Among their many unforgettable performances, we saw this real-life married couple, Matt Schrader and Hilary Clemens, playing opposite each other at Heart of America Shakespeare Festival as Laertes and Ophelia in Hamlet, and as Shakespeare and Viola in Shakespeare in Love. Matt will read the part of Sganarelle, a well-to-do old bachelor who has decided to marry a much younger woman, Dorimène, played by Hilary. Sganarelle seeks advice from his friend Geronimo, played by Calvin Arsenia. You'll remember how Calvin charmed us a year ago at Moliere's 398th birthday party with his harp playing and his reading. Calvin's national reputation continues to grow with all the enthusiastic reviews of his album releases. And now, Matt, it's your turn.
Well, then I'll take it away. But before I speak, I want to be sure you won't flatter me, huh? Be blunt. Say what you think.
That's what you wish.
Well, there's nothing worse than a friend who won't speak his mind openly.
Correct.
These days, it's hard to find a sincere friend.
That's true.
Geronimo, promise me you'll give me a frank answer.
I promise.
Take an oath on it.
I swear by our friendship. Just tell me what it is.
Well, in your opinion, should I get married?
You married?
Yes. I, in the first person, single. What do you say?
First, tell me one thing.
What's that?
How old are you?
Old?
Yes.
How should I know? Whatever I am, I'm fit for my age.
Ganorel, you're 52nd or...
Donald, come here, please.
It's not possible.
But you can't argue with the figures, and that's why I'm going to speak as a friend, and frankly, as you made me promise I would. Marriage is not for you. It's a matter that young people should think about very carefully, but people our age shouldn't think about it at all. If the greatest folly in life is to get married, the greatest disaster is to do so in our autumn years, by which time we should have grown wiser. Here then is my advice. Don't even consider marriage. You'll become a public laughingstock if you deliberately take up those heavy chains after remaining free of them for so long.
I have only one reply to make to that. I am determined to get married in spite of everything you say. And there's no danger whatever of my being a laughingstock if I marry this particular girl.
There's a particular girl? You didn't tell me that.
Well, a girl I happen to like. A girl I happen to love with my whole heart.
I see. Your whole heart.
Yes, indeed. I've asked her father for her hand.
I see. Her hand.
Yeah, and what's more, the wedding is this evening.
For heaven's sake, get married. I won't say another word.
Well, what, am I supposed to wreck my plans because of you and your idiotic advice? Am I no longer capable of dreaming about a woman? Let's not argue about how old I may be. Can you think of a man of 30 who looks fresher and more vigorous than I do? Isn't every movement of my body as snappy as it ever was, huh? Do I need a coach or a sedan when I go out? Haven't I got all of my teeth? And very fine teeth at that, too? Don't I still swallow 4 fat meals a day? And do you know anybody who has more powerful a pair of lungs than these? What do you say to that clean sound?
You're right, and I was wrong. Get married.
I used to dislike the idea, but now I have my reasons, strong reasons. Apart from the joy of owning a beautiful woman who'll lavish 1,000 caresses on me, pamper me, and massage me when I feel weary, apart from that joy, I say I must consider that if I remain as I am, the tribe of Sganarelle may vanish from the earth. By marrying, I'll be able to watch myself come to life again. I'll dote on those little creatures who've sprung from me, with their sweet faces, the spitting image of mine, skipping around the house all day and calling me Daddy, Daddy when I come home, playing all kinds of delightful little tricks. I can already see a half a dozen of them skipping all around me.
Nothing could be more enjoyable. Get married as fast as you can.
Honestly, is that what you advise?
I mean it. You couldn't do better.
Oh, you are a true friend, Geronimo. I'm very fond of your advice.
What is the name of your intended?
Dorimienne.
Not that young Dorimienne, that stylish, very pretty child?
That's the one.
The daughter of Alcantor?
Yes.
And the sister of that fellow Alcida who thinks of himself as a swordsman?
The same.
Great God.
What's that you say?
Good luck. Marry her right away.
Didn't I make a wonderful choice?
The best. What a marriage. Don't wait.
When you say that, I could just burst with excitement. Thank you for your advice. Of course, you're invited to the wedding this evening.
I wouldn't miss it. I'll wear a mask in the honor of the occasion.
At your service, monsieur.
And yours.
It must be a good match, because it gives everybody such pleasure. All the people I've met that laugh when they hear about it. I'm the happiest man alive.
Boy, hold up my train properly. Stop tying knots in it.
Here comes my beloved. Oh, she is enchanting. That elegance, that figure. Oh, could there be a man who'd see her and not long to wed, huh? Where are you off to, huh, Dorimienne? My lovely darling, my dear spouse-to-be of your spouse-to-be. Huh?
Oh, going to do a little shopping.
Oh, my pretty temptation. When I think of all those blissful years ahead of us, you'll do whatever I say, and I'll do whatever I please with you, and nobody will interfere, huh? You'll be mine from your top to the tips of your toes. I'll be king of you. Your lovely, lively little eyes, and your impudent little nose, and your lovely little ears, and your edible little lips, and your dainty little chin, and your bulging little breasts, and especially your, the whole of your body will be at my disposal, and I'll be disposed to fondle you whenever I like. Aren't you overjoyed at the prospect of this marriage, my precious little plaything?
Oh, overjoyed. Oh, I swear. Until now, my father has always held me in check. He is the world's worst tyrant. And I've been raging to break away from him and make my own way, even if it meant getting married. Well, and then praise God, you came along. And now I'm ready to make up for lost time. Now you. You're a man of the world. You know all about fashionable life. You won't be one of those narrow-minded husbands that wants wives to live all shut up like bears in a cave. I could never face that. No, I hate being alone. I like games. I like visits and parties and gatherings. Oh, and going for drives. I adore every type of pleasure. Oh, think yourself so lucky to have married a woman like me. Oh, we'll never quarrel. I won't check up on your activities, just as I'm sure that you won't check up on mine. Oh, I think that married partners should tolerate, not torment one another. Now, we'll have our own lives and our own friends with not a breath of suspicion between us. I'll expect you to trust me, just as I'll expect to trust you. What's wrong? Suddenly your face has gone very pale.
Nothing, just vapors of the brain.
Oh, that's a common ailment these days. Well, once we're married, you'll never have another vapor. Now, I must hurry away and get rid of these rags. I have to buy some decent clothes and I need quite a lot. Oh, but don't worry about it. I'll have the merchants sent to settle with you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Now, Moliere's controversial School for Wives again takes up the subject of an old man who wants to marry a young wife. By the way, Molière himself was 40 when he married 20-year-old Armande Bégère in 1662. To read the old man Arnulf's interrogation of his innocent young ward Agnès, we are thrilled to welcome back two illustrious Kansas City arts leaders. Stuart Carden is artistic director of Kansas City Repertory Theater. His beautiful online adaptation of A Christmas Carol is one of his many projects to nurture the rep through this difficult past year. Our beautiful actress soprano, Victoria Sofia Botero, also contributed to Christmas in Kansas City with her lovely online concert, Navidad Natale. The background to the scene you will hear is that Arnulf, as guardian to the presumably orphaned Agnès, has raised her from toddlerhood to be totally ignorant of the world. But now he learns that while he was away on an out-of-town business trip, some young man saw Agnès on her balcony and found a way to get into the house to get to know her. Arnulf needs to find out just how far things might have gone. Stuart and Victoria?
There we go. What's wrong? You seem a trifle irritated. Was there some harm in what I just related?
No, but go on. I want to hear it all. What happened when the young man came to call?
Oh, if you had seen how happy he was, how gay, and how his sickness vanished right away. Oh, and the jewel case he gave me. Not to forget the coins he gave to Hélène and to Georgette. You would have loved him also, and you too would have just...
And when you were alone, what did he do?
Oh, he swore he loved me with a matchless passion and said to me in the most charming fashion things which I found incomparably sweet and never tire of hearing him repeat. So much do they delight my ear and start, oh, I know not what commotion in my heart.
Oh, strange interrogation, which each reply makes the interrogator wish to die. Besides these compliments, these sweet addresses, were there not also kisses and caresses?
Oh, yes. He took my hands and kissed them both as if he never would desist.
And did he not take something else as well? Ah.
Well, he...
Yes?
He took...
What?
Oh, I dare not tell. I fear you'll be furious with me.
No.
Yes.
No, no.
Then promise not to be.
I promise.
He took my... Oh, you'll have a fit.
No.
Yes.
No, no, the devil, out with it. What did he take from you?
He took...
God save me.
He took the pretty ribbon that you gave me. Indeed, he begged so that I could not resist.
Forget the ribbon. Tell me, once he'd kissed your hands, what else did he do, as you recall?
Does one do other things?
No, not at all. But didn't he ask some further medicine for the sad state of health that he was in?
Why, no. But had he asked, you may be sure I'd have done anything to speed his cure.
I've got off cheap this once, thanks be to God. If I slip again, let all men call me Claude. Agnès, my dear, your innocence is vast. I shan't reproach you. What is past is past. But all that trifler wants to do, don't doubt it, is to deceive you and then boast about it.
Oh no, he's often assured me otherwise.
Ah, you do not know that sort cheats and lies, but do grasp this, to accept a jewel case and let some coxcomb praise your pretty face and be complacent when he takes a notion to kiss your hands and fill you with commotion is a great sin for which your soul could die.
A sin, you say? But please, sir, tell me why.
Why? Why? Because as all authority states, it's just such deeds that heaven abominates.
Abominates? But why should heaven feel so? It's all so charming and so sweet, you know? I never knew about this thing till now, or guessed what raptures it could bring.
Yes. All these promises of love undying, these sighs, these kisses are most gratifying, but they must be enjoyed in the proper way. One must be married, that is to say.
And once you're married, there's no evil in it?
That's right.
Oh, let me marry then, right this minute.
If that's what you desire, I feel the same. It was to plan your marriage that I came.
What? Truly?
Yes.
Oh, how happy I shall be.
Yes, wedded life will please you, I foresee.
You really intend that we two?
Yes, I do.
Oh, how I'll kiss you if you can make that dream come true.
And I'll return your kisses, every one.
I'm never sure when people are making fun. Are you quite serious?
Yes, I'm serious, quite.
We're to be married.
Yes.
But when?
Tonight.
Tonight?
Tonight, it seems you're moved to laughter.
Yes.
Well, to see you happy is what I'm after.
Oh, sir, I owe you more than I can express. With him, my life will be pure happiness.
With whom?
With him.
With him? Well, think again. You're rather hasty in your choice of men. It's quite another husband I have in mind. And as for him, as you call him, be so kind, regardless of his pitiable disease, as never again to see him, if you please. When next he calls, girl, put him in his place by slamming the door directly in his face. Then if he knocks, go up and drop a brick from the second floor window. That should do the trick. Do you understand, Agnès? I shall be hidden nearby to see that you do as you are bidden.
Oh dear, he's so good looking, so...
Be still.
I just won't have the heart.
Enough, you will. Now go upstairs.
How can you?
Do as I say. I'm master here. I've spoken. Go, obey.
Oh, thank you. And now let's hear the very same lines in the original French. At last year's celebration, you heard both Christopher Leach and Nicole Hodges Pursley read in English from two different plays based on Moliere's work. Christopher is a nationally exhibited artist with special interest in textile arts. His work as a costume designer includes Mesner Puppet Theater. Nicole is Associate Professor of Theater in American Studies and in African and African American Studies at the University of Kansas. She is also Artistic Director for Kansas City Melting Pot Theater that will stage her new translation adaptation of Moliere's The Imaginary Cuckold. Christopher and Nicole, Arnulf and Agnès in French.
Avez-vous vous gronder, ça me semblait un petit. Est-ce que c'est mal ce que je vous ai dit?
Non, mais de cette vous apprenez-moi les suites et comme le jeune homme a passé ses visites.
Eh bien, si vous saviez comme il était ravi, comme il perdit son mal, sitôt que je le vis, le présent qu'il m'a fait d'une belle cassette et l'argent qu'il en offre à Alain et Georgette, vous l'aimerez sans doute et diriez comme nous.
Oui, mais que faisait-il étant seul avec vous?
Il jurait qu'il m'aimait et d'un amour sans seconde, il me disait des mots les plus gentils du monde, des choses que jamais rien ne peut égaler. Et donc, toutes les fois, je l'entends parler, la douceur m'a chatouillé et là-dedans rému. Certains, je ne sais quoi, dont je suis tout émuée.
Oh, fâcheux examen d'un mystère fatal où l'examinateur souffre seul tout le mal.
Autant?
Tous ces discours, toutes ces gentillesses, ne vous faisaient-ils point aussi quelques caresses?
Autant. Et me prenait dans les mains, les bras, et me les baisait. Et il ne jetait jamais là.
Ne vous a-t-il point pris en y quelque autre chose?
Hey, il m'a pris.
Oh. Quoi?
Pris.
Le plaît-il?
Je n'ose. Et vous vous fâchez peut-être contre moi.
Non.
Si, fait.
Mon Dieu, non.
J'aurai donc foi, votre foi.
Ma foi, soit.
Il m'a pris. Oh, vous serez en colère.
Non.
Si.
Non, 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 non. Diantre, que de mystère. Qu'est-ce qu'il vous a pris?
Il a pris.
Je souffre en damné.
Il m'a pris le ruban que vous m'avez donné. Et à vous dire le vrai, il n'a pu m'en défendre.
Passe pour le ruban. Mais je voulais apprendre, s'ils ne vous ont rien fait, que vous baisez les bras.
Comment? Qu'est-ce qu'on fait d'autre chose?
Non pas, mais pour guérir du mal qu'il dit que le possède, n'a-t-il point exigé de vous d'autres remèdes?
Non, vous pouvez juger sans lui demander que pour le secourir, j'aurais tout accordé.
Grâce à bonté du ciel, j'en suis quitte à bon compte. Si j'y retombe plus, je veux bien qu'on m'affronte. De votre innocence, Agnès, c'est un fait. Je vous en dis mot, ce qui s'est fait est fait. Je sais qu'en vous flattant, le galant ne désire que de vous abuser, et puis après, sans rire.
Oh, point? Il me l'a dit plus de 20 fois, moi.
Ah, vous ne savez pas ce que c'est que sa foi. Mes enfants, apprenez qu'accepter des cassettes et de ces beaux blondins, écouter les sonnettes, que se laisser par eux à force de langueur baiser ainsi les mains et chatouiller le cœur est un péché mortel des plus gros qu'il se fasse.
Un péché, dites-vous? Et la raison de grâce?
La raison? La raison, elle aurait prononcé que par ses actions, le ciel est courroucé.
Courroucé? Mais pourquoi faut-il qu'on courrouce? C'est toute chose, hélas, si plaisante et si douce. J'admire quelle joie on goûte à tout cela, et je n'ai jamais point encore ces choses-là.
Oui, c'est un grand plaisir que toutes ces tendresses, ces propos si gentils et ces douces caresses, mais il faut le goûter en toute honnêteté et qu'en se mariant, le crime soit ôté.
Et plus on pêche lorsqu'on se
Non.
marie?
Non.
Oh, mariez-moi donc, promptement, je vous prie.
Si vous le souhaitez, je le souhaite aussi. Et pour vous marier, on me revoit ici.
Est-il possible?
Oui.
Que vous me ferez aise?
Oui, je ne doute pas que l'aimant ne vous plaise.
Oh, nous voulons, nous deux.
Rien de plus assuré.
Et qui cela se fait, je vous casserai.
Et la chose sera de ma part réciproque.
Et je ne reconnais pas pour moi qu'on se moque. Parlez-vous tout de bon?
Oui, vous le pourrez voir.
Mais nous serons mariés.
Oui.
Mais quand?
Dès ce soir.
Dès ce soir?
Dès ce soir. Cela vous fait donc rire.
Oui.
Vous voir bien content est ce que je désire.
Hélas, que je vous ai grande obligation et qu'avec lui, j'aurai de satisfaction.
Avec qui?
Avec là.
Là n'est pas mon compte. À choisir un mari, vous êtes un peu prompt. C'est un autre mot que je vous tiens tout près et quand au monsieur, là, je prétends, s'il vous plaît, dû le mettre au tombeau, le mal dont il vous berce, qu'avec lui, désormais, vous rompiez tout commerce. Que venant au logis pour votre compliment, vous lui fermiez au nez la porte honnêtement, et lui jetant silhouette ou gré par la fenêtre, l'obligiez tout de bon à nous plaisir paraître. M'attendez-vous, Agnès? Moi, caché dans un coin de votre procédé, je serai le témoin.
Mais là, il est si bien fait, c'est... Oh,
Ah, que de langage.
je n'aurai pas le cœur.
Point de bruit, davantage, montez là-haut.
Mais quoi voulez-vous?
C'est assez, je suis maître, je parle. Allez, obéissez. You're muted, Felicia.
Moliere and his play School for Wives were subjected to nasty attacks by jealous rivals, by critics who looked down on comedy, by prominent people who thought they had been mocked in the play, and by ordinary people who thought it indecent that the playwright had married a woman half his age. His response was to criticize his own work in a one-act comedy called Critique of the School for Wives, for which he borrowed many of the arguments that had been used against him. Moliere's public loved it, and it was presented 32 times on the same bill with the five-act comedy that started the controversy. The characters in the play have attended a performance of the School for Wives and are commenting on it. Andrea Tadhope reads Climene, who visits her friend Uranie to report on what she saw at the theater. Andrea is a multimedia journalist with 5 years at KCUR, and currently she is coordinating producer for America Amplified, a national public media community engagement initiative funded by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Reading the part of the hostess, Uranie, is Molly Balloons. She is a professional balloon artist who gets international bookings. She has cornered the market on balloon dresses with the amazing creations she wears. Steve Paul will read the part of the reasonable Durant. You all know Steve from his more than 40 years as a writer and editor at the Kansas City Star. Among his books are Kansas City Noir and Hemingway at 18. He's currently working on a book about Evan S. Connell. And finally, we welcome Devin Carney to read The Aristocrat, a Marquis. Devin has been artistic director of Kansas City Ballet since 2013. Among the many beautiful productions he has given us, I would just mention the world premiere of The Wizard of Oz. Now let's hear this tiny snippet from Moliere's Critique of the School for Wives.
Oh, for heaven's sake, my dear, bring me a chair immediately.
An armchair here, quickly.
Oh, good heaven.
What can be the matter?
I can bear it no longer.
Well, what ails you?
I'm going to faint.
Have you got the vapors?
No.
Shall I unlace you?
Oh, Lord, no. God, no.
Well, what is your ailment then? When did it seize you?
About 3 hours ago. I brought it from the Palais Royal.
How?
I have just seen, as a punishment for my sins, that villainous rhapsody, the School for Wives. I feel still a twinge from the fainting fit it gave me. I believe I shall not be myself again for a fortnight. Can a virtuous person find anything pleasant in a piece which keeps her modesty in continual alarm and sullies the imagination at every turn?
Pray do not move and do not break off your conversation. You are on a subject which for 4 days has been the common talk of Paris, and never was anything more amusing than the various judgments which are passed upon it. For indeed, I have heard this play condemned by some for the very things that others most praise.
The Marquis speaks very ill of it.
Oh, it is true. I think it detestable. Detestable, egad. To the last degree, detestable. What you may call detestable.
And I, dear Marquis, think the judgment detestable.
How, Chevalier, do you mean to vindicate this play?
Yes, I do mean to vindicate it.
Egad, I warrant it to be detestable.
That guarantee would not be accepted in the city. But, Marquis, for what reason, pray, is this comedy as you describe it?
Why detestable?
Aye?
It is detestable because it is detestable.
After that, there is not a word to be said. The cause is ended. But still, instruct us and tell us its faults.
How can I? I did not so much as give myself the trouble to listen to it. Yet, I assure you, I never saw anything so wretched. As I hoped to be saved, and Dorilus, who sat opposite me, was of the same mind.
The authority is weighty, and you are well backed.
Well, you have only to mark the continual bursts of laughter from the pit. I wish no more to prove its utter worthlessness.
You are then, Marquis, one of the grand gentlemen who will not allow the pit to have common sense, and who would be vexed to join in their laugh, though it were the best thing conceivable. Pray note, Marquis, and your friends as well, that common sense has no fixed place at a theater, that the difference between half a louis and 15 sous makes none whatever in the matter of good taste, that whether we sit or stand, we may pass a bad judgment, and that in short, speaking generally, I would place considerable reliance on the applause of the pit, because among those who go there, many are capable of judging a piece according to rule, whilst others judge it as they ought. allowing themselves to be guided by circumstances, having neither a blind prejudice, nor an affected complacence, nor a ridiculous refinement.
Thank you. Now, after Tartuffe was banned, Moliere needed to write fast to get a new production into his theater. So Don Juan gave him a ready-made plot and he dashed it off in prose. It's an original and compelling take on the character of the legendary seducer. There is comedy in the play, mostly in the hands of his servant, Sganarelle. After 5 acts of dastardly deeds, Don Juan consciously adopts yet another vice, hypocrisy. And that is what he explains to us in his culminating monologue. It will be read first in English and then in French by Jean-Charles Foyer. Jean-Charles joins us from France, where it is in the early hours of the morning. When we started this program at 5:30 p.m. in the Midwest, it was already 12:30 at night for him. Probably nobody managed to have more fun during the pandemic last summer than Jean-Charles, with the fanciful and historically accurate costumes he concocted, and with his reproductions of famous paintings that entertained us visually on his Facebook page. And now, let him entertain us verbally.
It's no longer shameful to be a dissembler. Hypocrisy is now a fashionable vice, and all fashionable vices pass for virtues. The part of God-fearing man is the best role to play nowadays, and in our present society, the hypocrite's profession has extraordinary advantages. It's an art whose dishonesty always goes unchallenged. Even if the whole world sees through the imposture, no one dares to denounce it. All the other vices of mankind are subject to censure, and anyone is free to upbraid them roundly. But hypocrisy is a privileged vice which knows how to silence every tongue and enjoy a perfect impunity. The hypocrite, by means of pious pretenses, attaches himself to the company of the devout, and anyone who then assails him is set upon by a great phalanx of the godly, wherein those who act sincerely and have true religious favor are always the dupes of others. The true believers are easily hoodwinked by the false and blindly second those who ape their piety. I can't tell you how many men I know who by means of a feigned devotion have glossed over the sins of their youth, wrapped themselves in the cloak of religion, and in that holy disguise are now free to be the worst of scoundrels. It makes no difference if their intrigues are sometimes exposed and their true natures laid bare. They don't cease on that account to be respected, since by soulful groans and bowings of the head and rollings of the eyes to heaven, they can readily persuade the world to excuse whatever they do. I propose to take refuge in this modish style of deception, and thus protect myself and my interests. I shan't give up any of my cherished pursuits, but I'll be careful to pursue them quietly and on the sly. If ever my secret life is discovered, I won't have to lift a finger. The whole cabal of the pious will take my side and defend me against all comers. In short, I found the ideal way to do whatever I like and go scot-free. I'll set myself up as censor of the conduct of others. I will condemn everybody, and I will approve of no one but myself. If anyone offends me, however slightly, I will never forgive him, but shall nurse instead a secret and implacable hatred. I'll appoint myself the avenger of heaven, and with that convenient pretext, I'll harass my enemies, accuse them of impiety, and stir up against them a swarm of ignorant zealots who'll assail them in public, heap them with defamations, and officiously doom them to hell. A clever man will thus exploit men's follies and adapt his style to the vices of the age. Et maintenant en français. Il n'y a plus de honte maintenant à cela. L'hypocrisie est un vice à la mode. Et tous les vices à la mode passent pour des vertus. Le personnage d'homme de bien est le meilleur de tous les personnages qu'on puisse jouer aujourd'hui. Et la profession d'hypocrite a de merveilleux avantages. C'est un art de qui l'imposture est toujours respectée. Et quoi qu'on la découvre, on n'ose rien dire contre elle. Tous les autres vices des hommes sont exposés à la censure, et chacun a la liberté de les attaquer hautement. Mais l'hypocrisie est un vice privilégié, qui de sa main ferme la bouche de tout le monde, et jouit en repos d'une impunité souveraine. On lit à force de grimaces une société étroite, avec tous les gens du parti, qui en chacun se les attire de tout bras, et ceux que l'on sait même agir de bonne foi là-dessus, et que chacun connaît pour être véritablement touché. Ceux-là, dis-je, sont toujours les dupes des autres. Ils donnent hautement dans le panneau des grimaciers, et appuient aveuglément les singes de leurs actions. Combien crois-tu que j'en connaisse, qui par ce stratagème ont rhabillé adroitement les désordres de leur jeunesse, qui se sont fait un bouclier du manteau de la religion, et sous cet habit respecté, ont la permission d'être les plus méchants hommes du monde. On a beau savoir leurs intrigues et les connaître pour ce qu'ils sont, ils ne laissent pas pour cela d'être en crédit parmi les gens, et quelques baissements de tête, de soupirs mortifiés, et d'un ou deux roulements des yeux, rajustent dans le monde tout ce qu'ils peuvent faire. C'est sous cet abri favorable que je veux me sauver et mettre en sûreté mes affaires. Je ne quitterai point mes douces habitudes, mais j'aurai soin de me cacher et me divertirai à petit bruit. Que si je viens à être découvert, je verrai sans me remuer prendre mes intérêts à toute cabale, et je serai défendu par elle envers et contre tous. Enfin, c'est là le vrai moyen de faire impunément tout ce que je voudrais. Je m'érigerai en censeur des actions d'autrui, jugerai mal de tout le monde, et n'aurai de bonnes opinions que de moi. Dès qu'une fois on m'aura choqué, tant soit peu, je ne pardonnerai jamais et garderai tout doucement une haine irréconciliable. Je ferai le vengeur des intérêts du ciel, et sous ce prétexte commode, je pousserai mes ennemis, les accuserai d'impiété, et saurai déchaîner contre eux des zélés indiscrets, qui sans connaissance de cause crieront en public contre eux, qui les accableront d'injures, et les damneront autant de leur autorité privée. C'est ainsi qu'il faut profiter des faiblesses des hommes, et qu'un sage esprit s'accommode aux vices de son siècle.
Merci. And next, the mischievous machinations of Scapin. Because of its popularity, the three-act comedy Les Fourberies de Scapin exists in many English translations under different titles. Besides the mischievous machinations of the translation you will hear, there are Scapin's rogueries, trickeries, impostures, schemes, and ruses. There's even an American musical comedy version called simply Scapino. The scene you will hear from Act 2, Scene 11, is one of those classic, surefire comic sequences in which the roguish servant uses a fake story to dupe an old man. It contains one of Moliere's most famous lines, Mais que diable allait-il faire dans cette galère? As you will hear, it's comedy by repetition. In the role of the mischievous Scapin is Kadesh Flo, a Billboard charting rapper, trombonist, and producer with 7 albums. His YouTube videos combine rap with Japanese anime. Jeffrey Bentley will read the wealthy but miserly Gironde. Jeff is executive director of the Kansas City Ballet. From his professional ballet training with the Joffrey, to service as a military intelligence officer in Vietnam, to an amazing roster of theater administration, festival directing, and teaching, Jeff brings over 40 years of experience to his leadership of the Kansas City Ballet. Jeff and Kadesh.
Oh heavens! Oh unlooked for misfortune! Oh wretched father! Poor Zerant, what will you do?
What is he saying about me with that sorrowful face?
Is there no one to tell me where I can find Mr. Zerant?
What is the matter, Skepin?
Where can I find him to tell him of this misfortune?
What is it?
In vain do I run everywhere trying to find him.
Here I am.
He must be hiding in some place which no one can discover.
Hello, are you blind that you cannot see me?
Oh, sir, I could not meet you anywhere.
I have been standing in front of you for nearly an hour. What has happened?
Sir?
What?
Your son, sir.
Well, my son?
He has met with the strangest accident in the world.
What is it?
A short time ago, I met him looking so very sad about something that you had told him, and in which you have unreasonably enough mixed up my name. And trying to raise his low spirits, we went to take a row in the harbor. There, amongst several other things, our eyes were attracted by a Turkish gallo, tolerably well equipped. A young Turk with a pleasant face invited us to come aboard and held out his hand to us. We went. He showed us 1,000 civilities, offered us lunch, where we ate the most excellent fruit that could be found and drank the finest wine in the world.
What is there so very grievous in all this?
Stay a moment, sir, I'm coming to it. While we were eating, he put the galley out to sea, and finding himself far enough from the port, he had me put into a boat and sent me to tell you that if you do not send him through me immediately 500 crowns, he will carry your son away to Algiers.
What the deuce? 500 crowns?
Yes, sir. And what is more, he has only given me 2 hours to find them.
Ah, the gallows bird of a Turk, to murder me in this manner.
It remains for you, sir, to take prompt measures to save from slavery a son whom you so tenderly love.
What the devil did he want in that galley?
He did not dream of what would happen.
Go, Scapion, go quickly and tell this Turk that I shall send the authorities after him.
The authorities are on the open sea. Do you wish to make fools of people?
What the devil did he want in that galley?
An adverse fate often leads people.
You must, Scapion, you must show yourself now a faithful servant.
How so, sir?
By going to tell this Turk to send me back my son, and by putting yourself in his place until I can raise the sum which he asks.
Sir, do you know what you're saying? And do you imagine that this Turk will have so little sense as to receive a poor wretch like me as a substitute for your son?
What the devil did he want in that galley?
He did not dream of such a misfortune. Remember, sir, he has given me only 2 hours.
He wants, you say?
500 crowns.
500 crowns. Has he no conscience?
That's good. A Turk, a conscience.
Does he know what 500 crowns means?
Indeed he does, sir. He knows that it's 1,500 livres.
Does he think, the villain, that 1,500 livres can be so easily found?
They are people who do not understand reason.
But what the devil did he want in that galley?
True, but after all, one cannot foresee these things. Pray, sir, make haste.
Look here, there's the key of my cupboard.
Good.
You go and open it.
Very good.
You will find a large key on the left-hand side, which is the one of the garret.
Yes.
You will take all of the clothes which are in that large basket and go and sell them to the old clothesman to redeem my son.
Are you dreaming, sir? The whole lot which you speak will not fetch 100 francs. And besides, you know what little time he's given me.
But what the devil did he want in that galley?
Oh, what a waste of words. Leave the galley alone and remember that time flies and that you run the risk of losing your son. Alas, my poor master, perhaps I shall have never set eyes on you while I live. And at this very moment, they are carrying you away to Algiers as a slave. But heaven is my witness that I have done all that I could for you, and that if you are not bought off, nothing but the want of fatherly affection is to blame.
Stay, Captain. I will go and fetch that money.
Be quick about it then, sir. I tremble to hear the hours strike.
Did you not say 400 crowns?
No, 500.
500 crowns?
Yes.
What the devil did he want in that galley?
You are right, but make haste.
Was there no other place to go to?
That is true, but be quick.
Ah, that confounded galley.
That galley lies heavy on his heart.
Stay, Scabian. I do not remember that I have just received the sum in gold, and I did not think I would have to part with it so soon. There, go and redeem my son.
Yes, sir.
But tell this Turk that he is a scoundrel.
Yes.
An infamous wretch.
Yes.
A man without honor, a robber.
Let me manage it.
That he extorts 500 crowns from me against all right.
Yes.
That I do not make them a present to him forever.
Very good.
And that if ever I catch him, I shall be revenged on him.
Yes.
Go quickly and bring back my son.
Hello, sir. Sir.
What?
Where is this money?
Have I not given it to you?
No, indeed, you put it back in your pocket.
Ah, it is this trouble that upsets my senses.
I see it does.
What the devil did he want in that galley? Confounded galley? Villain of a Turk, may the devil take you.
He cannot swallow the 500 crowns which I have dragged away from him. But he is not quits with me yet, and he shall pay me in different coin for the trick he has played me with his son.
And now Tartuffe. Tartuffe is probably Moliere's best-known play and the one that gave him the most trouble in his life. His first version was performed once at court in 1664, then banned. His second version was performed once for the public in Paris in 1667 and then banned. Both of those versions are lost. Luckily, we have Moliere's third version from 1669. Why did it take nearly 5 years to get beyond being banned? The comedy skewers Moliere's most targeted vice, hypocrisy. But he used religious hypocrisy as his example. And although there were plenty of falsely pious prominent libertines at court, church authorities misinterpreted the comedy as a direct attack on religion. In Act 2, Scene 2, the duped father of the household, Orgon, played by Sean O'Hara, has just been telling his daughter Marianne that he wants her to marry Tartuffe. The scene begins when Orgon catches his maid Dorine eavesdropping. Marianne is a silent presence during this dialogue between Orgon and Dorine. Sean O'Hara is executive director of the Kemper Museum of Contemporary Art. You will remember his delightful readings last year from The Miser. To read the impudent servant Dorine, Consuelo Cruz joins us again. Consuelo has a long record of promoting the arts and education in Kansas City. She's currently the Marketing and Community Engagement Manager at Belger Cartage Service Incorporated and Belger Arts. It's a joy to have both of them with us again.
What are you doing in here? Is curiosity so fierce a passion with you that you must eavesdrop in this fashion?
Lately been a rumor going about, based on some hunch or chance remark, no doubt, that you mean Mary Ann to wed Tartuffe? I've laughed it off, of course, as just a spoof.
You find it so incredible?
Yes, I do. I won't accept that story even from you.
Well, you'll believe it when the thing is done.
Yes, yes, of course. Go on and have your fun.
I've never been more serious in my life. Daughter, I mean it. You'll be his wife.
No, don't believe your father. It's all a hoax.
See here, young woman.
Come, sir, no more jokes. You can't fool us.
How dare you talk that way?
All right, then. We believe you, sad to say. But how a man like you, who looks so wise and wears a mustache of such splendid size, can be so foolish as to—
Silence, please. My girl, you take too many liberties. I'm master here, as you must not forget.
Let's discuss this calmly. Don't be upset. You can't be serious, sir, about this plan. What should that bigot want with Mary Ann? Praying and fasting ought to keep him busy. And then in terms of wealth and rank, what is he? Why should a man of property like you pick out a beggar son-in-law?
That will do. Speak of his poverty with reverence. His is a pure and saintly indigence. What far transcends all worldly pride and pelf? He lost his fortune, as he says himself, because he cared for heaven alone, and so was careless of his interests here below. I mean to get him out of his present straits and help him to recover his estates, which in the part of his world is no small fame. Poor though as he is, he's a gentleman just the same.
Yes, so he tells us. And sir, it seems to me, such pride goes very ill with piety. A man whose spirit spurns this dungy earth ought not to brag of lands and noble birth. Such worldly arrogance will hardly square with meek devotion in the life of prayer. But this approach I see has drawn a blank. Let's speak then of his person, not his rank. Doesn't it seem to you a trifle grim to give a girl like her to a man like him? When two are so ill-suited, can't you see what the sad consequence is bound to be? A young girl's virtue is imperiled, sir, when such a marriage is imposed on her. For if one's bridegroom isn't to one's taste, it's hardly an inducement to be chaste. And many a man with horns upon his brow has made his wife the thing that she is now. It's hard to be a faithful wife, in short, to certain husbands of a certain sort. And he who gives his daughter to a man she hates must answer for her sins at heaven's gates. Think, sir, before you play so risky a role.
This servant girl presumes to save my soul.
You would do well to ponder what I've said.
Daughter, will disregard this dunderhead. Just trust your father's judgment. Oh, I'm aware that I once promised you to young Valere, but now I hear he gambles, which greatly shocks me. What's more, I've doubts about his orthodoxy. He visits church, I note, very few.
Would you have him go at the same hours as you and kneel nearby to be sure of being seen?
I can dispense of such remarks, Doreen.
Now, let's hear the very same lines from Act 2, Scene 2 in French. Sean O'Hara will again read Orgon. Dorothée Werner combines French and international business. She teaches at the Académie Lafayette, where she is also vice principal of the Oak Street campus, and she will read Doreen in French.
Que faites-vous là? La curiosité qui vous presse est bien forte, m'a mis à nous venir écouter de la sorte.
Vraiment, je ne sais pas si c'est un bruit qui part de quelque conjoncture ou d'un coup de hasard, mais de ce mariage, on m'a dit la nouvelle, et j'ai traité cela de pure bagatelle.
Quoi donc? La chose est-elle incroyable?
À tel point que vous-même, monsieur, je ne vous en crois point.
Je sais bien le moyen de vous le faire croire.
Oui, oui, vous nous contez une plaisante histoire.
Je compte justement ce qu'on verra dans peu.
Chanson.
Ce que je dis, ma fille, je n'ai point je.
Allez, ne croyez point à monsieur votre père, il raille.
Je vous dis.
Non, vous avez beau faire, on ne vous croira point.
À la fin, mon courroux!
Eh bien, on vous croit donc, et c'est tant pis pour vous. Quoi? Se peut-il, monsieur, qu'avec l'air d'homme sage et cette large barbe au milieu du visage, vous soyez fou pour vouloir?
Écoutez, vous avez pris certaines privautés qui ne me plaisent point, je vous le dis, mamie.
Parlons sans nous fâcher, monsieur, je vous supplie. Vous moquez-vous des gens d'avoir fait ce complot? Votre fille n'est point l'affaire d'un bigot. Il a d'autres emplois auxquels il faut qu'il pense. Et puis que vous apporte une telle alliance? À quel sujet aller avec tout votre bien? Choisir un gendre gueux?
Taisez-vous! S'il n'a rien, sachez que c'est par là qu'il faut qu'on la révère. Sa misère est sans doute une honnête misère. Au-dessus des grandeurs, elle doit l'élever, puisqu'en fin de son bien, elle s'est laissée priver, par son trop peu de soins, des choses temporelles, et sa puissante attache aux choses éternelles. Mais mon secours pourra lui donner les moyens de sortir d'embarras et rentrer dans ses biens. Ce son fief compte bon titre au pays on renomme, et tel que l'on le voit, il est bien gentilhomme.
Oui, c'est lui qui le dit, et cette vanité, monsieur, ne sied pas bien avec la piété. Qui d'une sainte vie embrasse l'innocence ne doit point t'en prôner son nom et sa naissance. Et l'humble procédé de la dévotion souffre mal les éclats de cette ambition. À quoi bon cet orgueil? Mais ce discours vous blesse. Parlons de sa personne et laissons sa noblesse. Ferez-vous possesseur sans quelque peu d'ennui d'une fille comme elle, un homme comme lui? Et ne devez-vous pas songer aux bienséances et de cette union prévoir les conséquences? Sachez qu'une fille, on ne risque la vertu lorsque dans son hymen, son goût est combattu. Que le dessein d'y vivre en honnête personne dépend des qualités du mari qu'on lui donne. Et de ceux dont partout on montre au doigt le front, font leurs femmes souvent ce qu'on voit qu'elles sont. Il est bien difficile enfin d'être fidèle à de certains maris faits d'un certain modèle. Et qui donc à sa fille, un homme qu'elle est responsable au ciel des fautes qu'elle fait. Songez à quel péril votre dessein vous livre.
Je vous dis qu'il faut apprendre d'elle à vivre.
Vous n'en feriez que mieux de suivre mes leçons.
Nous ne amusons point, ma fille, à ces chansons. Je sais qu'il vous faut, et je suis votre père. J'avais donné pour vous ma parole à Valère, mais outre qu'à jouer, on dit qu'il est enclin. Je le soupçonne encore d'être un peu libertin. Je ne remarque point qu'il hante les églises.
Voulez-vous qu'il y court à vos heures précises, comme ceux qui n'y vont que pour être aperçus?
Je ne demande pas votre avis là-dessus.
Merci. And now an excerpt. Moliere's Tartuffe is so skillfully constructed that we hear about the character, the title character for 2 acts before we finally get to see him in Act 3. And then the scope of his hypocrisy hits us in the face. In Act 3, Scene 3, he attempts to seduce Elmire, the wife of his benefactor, Orgon. This is the first of 2 attempted seduction scenes between Tartuffe and Elmire. The later one is more physical, but this first one is more suited to Zoom because the language is the action. It's full of brilliant double entendre using religious vocabulary for a libertine's earthly desires. Julian Zugatsagoitia and Cyprien Sinkowitz will read a chunk of this scene as Tartuffe and Elmire, first in Richard Wilbur's English translation and then in Moliere's French. Julian Zugatsagoitia is Menifee and Mary Louise Blackwell, director and CEO of the Nelson Atkins Gallery and Museum of Art. Cyprien Sinkowitz joins us today from Arizona. As chair of our international committee, she has tirelessly promoted our Kansas City efforts in France. Thanks to Cyprien, Kansas City Casey Moliere 400 in 2022 has been invited by the Office of the Mayor of the City of Versailles to participate in Le Mois Molière, a huge annual festival devoted to the plays and tradition of Molière. Cyprien and Julian will make their own transition from English to French without my interruption.
May heaven, whose infinite goodness we adore, preserve your body and soul forevermore, and bless your days and answer thus the plea of one who is its humblest votary.
Thank you for that pious wish. But please, do take a chair and let's be more at ease.
I trust that you are once more well and strong?
Yes, the fever didn't last long.
My prayers are too unworthy, I am sure, to have gained from heaven this most gracious cure. But lately, madame, my every supplication has had for object your recuperation.
You shouldn't have troubled so. I don't deserve it.
Your health is priceless, madame, and to preserve it, I gladly give my own in all sincerity.
Sir, you outdo us all in Christian charity. You've been most kind. I count myself your debtor.
'Twas nothing, madame. I longs to serve you better.
There's a private matter I'm anxious to discuss. I'm glad there's no one here to hinder us.
Too, I'm glad. It floods my heart with bliss to find myself alone with you like this. For just this chance, I've prayed with all my power, but prayed in vain until this happy hour.
This won't take long, sir, and I hope you'll be entirely frank and unconstrained with me.
Indeed, there's nothing I'd rather do than bare my innermost heart and soul to you. First, let me say what remarks I've made about the constant visits you are paid were prompted not by any mean emotion, but rather by a pure and deep devotion, a fervent zeal.
No need for explanation. Your sole concern, I'm sure, was my salvation.
Quite so, and such a good fervor do I feel.
Oh, please, you're pitching.
I never meant to cause you pain. It was an excess of zeal. I'd rather...
What can your hand be doing there?
Feeling your gown. What soft, fine woven stuff.
Please, I'm extremely ticklish. That's enough.
My, what a lovely lacework on your dress. The workmanship miraculous, no less. I've not seen anything equal to it.
Yes, quite. But let's talk business for a bit. They say my husband means to break his word and give his daughter to you, sir. Had you heard?
He did once mention it, but I confess I dream of quite a different happiness. It's elsewhere, madame, that my eyes discern the promise of that bliss for which I yearn.
I see. You care for nothing here below.
Oh, well, my heart's not made of stone, you know.
All your desires mount heavenward, I'm sure, in scorn of all that's earthly and impure.
Love of heavenly beauty does not preclude a proper love for earthly pulchritude. Our senses are quite rightly captivated by perfect works of makers has created. Some glory clings to all that heaven has made. In you, all heaven marvels are displayed. On that fair face, such beauties have been lavished, your eyes are dazzled, and the heart is ravished.
Declaration is most gallant, sir, but don't you think it's out of character? You'd have done better to restrain your passion and think before you spoke in such a fashion. It ill becomes a pious man like you.
I might be pious, but I'm human too. With your celestial charms before his eyes, a man has not the power to be wise. I know such words sound strangely coming from me, but I'm no angel, nor was meant to be. And if you blame my passion, you must need to reproach as well the charms on which it feeds. Your loveliness I had no sooner seen that you became my soul's unrivaled queen. Before your seraph glance, divinely sweet, my heart defenseless crumbled in defeat. And nothing fasting, prayer, or tears might do could stay my spirit away from adoring you. My eyes, my side have told you in the past what now my lips make bold to say at last. With me, of course, there's no need to be anxiety, no fear of scandal or notoriety. These young court gallants, whom all the ladies fancy, are vain in speech, in action rash and chancy. When they succeed in love, the word soon knows it. No favors granted them, but they disclose it. And by the looseness of their tongues profane, the very altar where their hearts have fixed. Men of my sort, however, love discreetly, and no one may trust our reticence completely. My keen concern for my good name ensures the absolute security of yours. In short, I offer, my dear Elmire, love without scandal, pleasure without fear.
I've heard your well-turned speeches to the end, and what you urge, I clearly apprehend. Aren't you afraid that I may take a notion to tell my husband of your warm devotion, and that, supposing he were duly told, his feelings toward you might grow rather cold?
I know, dear lady, that your exceeding charity will lead your heart to pardon my temerity, that you'll excuse my violent affection as human weakness, human imperfection, and those, O fairest, you will bear in mind that I'm but flesh and blood, but I'm not blind. Et maintenant, da-da-da-dan. You know, I just want to say this is super fun, but it's so unfair that we, the lay people, go after the professionals. This sets the bar very differently, but there we go. Que le ciel à jamais, par sa toute bonté, et de l'âme et du corps, vous donne la santé, et bénisse vos jours, autant que je le désire, le plus humble de ce que mon amour inspire.
Je suis fort obligée à ce souhait pieux, mais prenons une chaise, afin d'être un peu mieux.
Mais comment de votre mal vous sentez-vous remise?
Fort bien, et cette fièvre a bientôt quitté prise.
Ah, mes prières n'ont pas le mérite qu'il faut pour avoir attiré cette grâce d'en haut, mais je n'ai fait au ciel nulle dévote instance qui n'ait eu pour objet votre convalescence.
Votre zèle pour moi s'est trop inquiété.
Oh non, 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 on peut trop chérir votre chère santé, et pour la rétablir, j'aurais donné la mienne.
C'est poussé bien avant la charité chrétienne, et je vous dois beaucoup pour toutes ces bontés.
Je fais bien moins pour vous que vous ne méritez.
J'ai voulu vous parler en secret d'une affaire et suis bien aise ici qu'aucun ne nous éclaire.
Oh, ben, j'en suis ravi de même. Et sans doute, il m'est doux, madame, de me voir seul avec vous. C'est une occasion qu'au ciel j'ai demandée, sans que jusqu'à cette heure, il me l'ait accordée.
Pour moi, ce que je veux, c'est un mot d'entretien où tout votre cœur s'ouvre et ne me cache rien.
Je le veux aussi pour grâce singulière que montrer à vos yeux mon âme tout entière. Je vous ferai serment que les bruits que j'en fais, des visites qu'ici reçoivent vos attraits, ne sont pas envers vous l'effet d'aucune haine, mais plutôt d'un transport de zèle qui m'entraîne et d'un pur mouvement que...
Bien ainsi, et je crois que mon salut vous donne ce souci.
Oh, madame, sans doute ma ferveur est telle, mais...
Vous me serrez trop.
Oh, mais c'est par excès de zèle de vous faire autant de mal. Je n'aurais aucun jamais dessein. Je n'aurais bien plutôt...
Et là, votre main.
Oh, je tâte votre habit, l'étoffe est moelleuse.
Ah, de grâce, laissez, je suis fort chatouilleuse.
Mon Dieu, que ce point l'ouvrage est merveilleux. On travaille aujourd'hui d'un air miraculeux. Jamais, en toute chose, on a vu si bien faire.
Il est vrai, mais parlons un peu de notre affaire. On tient que mon mari veut dégager sa foi et vous donner sa fille. Est-il vrai? Dites-moi.
Il m'en a dit 2 mots. Mais madame, à vrai dire, ce n'est pas le bonheur auprès de quoi je soupire. Et je vois, autre part, les merveilleux attraits de la félicité qui fait tous mes souhaits.
C'est que vous n'aimez rien des choses de la terre.
Oh non. Mon sein m'enferme par un cœur qui soit de pierre.
Pour moi, je crois qu'au ciel tendent tous vos soupirs et que rien d'ici-bas n'arrête vos désirs.
Oh, l'amour qui nous attache aux beautés éternelles n'étouffe pas en nous l'amour des temporels. Nos sens facilement peuvent être charmés des ouvrages parfaits que le ciel a formés. Ces attraits réfléchis brillent dans vous pareil, mais il étale en vous ces plus rares merveilles.
La déclaration est tout à fait galante, mais elle est, à vrai dire, un peu bien surprenante. Vous deviez, ce me semble, armer mieux votre sein et raisonner un peu sur un pareil dessein. Un dévot comme vous et que partout on nomme...
Pour être un dévot, je ne suis pas moins homme. Et lorsqu'on vient à voir vos célestes appas, un cœur se laisse prendre et ne raisonne pas. Je sais qu'un tel discours de moi paraît étrange. Mais madame, après tout, je ne suis pas un ange. Madame, si vous me condamnez, l'aveu que je vous fais, vous devez vous en prendre à vos charmants attraits. Dès que je vis briller la splendeur plus qu'humaine de mon antérieur, vous fûtes souveraine. De vos regards divins, l'ineffible douceur força la résistance où s'obstinait mon cœur. Et surmonta tout, jeûne, prière, larmes, et tourna mes voeux du côté de vos charmes. Mes yeux et mes soupirs vous l'ont dit 1000 fois. Pour mieux m'expliquer, j'emploie ici ma voix. Votre honneur en moi ne court point de hasard, et n'a nulle disgrâce à craindre de ma part. Tous ces galants de cour, dont les femmes sont folles, sont bruyants de leurs faits et vains dans leurs paroles. De leurs progrès sans cesse, on les voit se targuer. Ils n'ont point de faveur qu'ils n'aillent divulguer, et leur langue indiscrète, et qui se confie, déshonore l'autel où on leur sacrifie. Mais les gens comme nous brûlons d'un feu discret, et qui pour toujours, on est sûr du secret, le soin que nous prenons de notre renommée répond de toutes choses à la personne aimée. Et c'est en nous qu'on trouve, acceptant notre cœur, de l'amour sans scandale et du plaisir sans peur.
Je vous écoute dire, et votre rhétorique en termes assez forts à mon âme s'explique. N'appréhendez-vous point que je ne sois d'humeur à dire à mon mari cette galante ardeur et que le prompt avis d'un amour de la sorte ne peut bien altérer l'amitié qu'il vous porte?
Je sais que vous avez trop de bénignité et que vous ferez grâce à ma témérité, que vous m'excuserez sur l'humaine faiblesse des violents transports d'un amour qui vous blesse, et considérez, en regardant votre air, qu'on n'est pas aveugle et qu'un homme est de chair.
Thank you. Our final reading is a world premiere, the first public reading of the opening sequence of a commissioned play by Philip Bleuel-Hooser. Philip, I invite you to make yourself visible for a moment and unmute yourself to say hello to everyone. Philip, hello. Well, let's see you. Philip Bleuel-Hooser, Choctaw Nation, has had his plays produced at the Unicorn, the Coterie, UMKC, and Smithsonian Theater in Washington, D.C. He is a professional storyteller who also acts and directs, produces Eat Their Words, gives Heart of America Shakespeare Festival show talks, and is a co-host on KKFI's The 10th Voice. The one-act comedy he wrote, Tartuffe and Misanthrope, written for outdoor performance and for touring to schools, was inspired by our desire to connect the celebration of Moliere's 400th birthday to our city's French heritage, and by preparations for this summer's opening of the François Chouteau and Native American Heritage Fountain. This summer and fall will mark not only Missouri's bicentennial as a state, but also the 200th anniversary of the first French settlement here, at the confluence of the Missouri and Quaw, or Kansas rivers. François Chouteau came with his young wife Bérénice in 1821 to run a fur trading post here. They befriended the Osage and the Quaw and maintained friendly relations. There's no record of how well the Chouteaus might have known the works of Molière, but it's logical to assume, as Philip's one-act comedy does, that they regarded his work as a brilliant example of French culture. But maybe they got a little mixed up when they tried to present some Molière to the Osage. Our amazing three-time Grammy Award-winning Kansas City Chorale founder and artistic director Charles Bruffy will read the part of François Chouteau. To read the role of his wife, Bérénice Chouteau, we are thrilled to welcome Daisy Bouquet. In addition to her regular Daisy Bouquet show at Missy B's, she performs at many other venues and events and has released an album titled Pansy. And you, our listening audience, must imagine that you are the Osage with whom François Chouteau is attempting to communicate. Charles, are you there?
Yeah, but it's telling me that I can't start my video because the host has stopped it.
Ooh, Nicole, can you open his video?
Absolutely. Let me find you, Charles. You should have a little notification asking you to turn on your video now.
This is the new beauty of live theater.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Well, since we have this little lag here, the longer I have watched you people, the more nervous I get, and then we have this happen.
We see you now.
Okay.
Yes, we do see you.
I'm going to make a very dramatic entrance.
Brother, I know I'm not the wisest one, nor the most learned when all is said and done. Oh, I should tell you, in this part, I'm talking to my brother. He's not here. Well, not my brother, but my brother in the play. Because I'm not myself. You know, I am Francois Chouteau. Of course. But I am not in the play. I mean, I am in the play, but I am not a character in the play. I am acting. I'm acting as a character in the play. I'm Cléante, which is to say, I am still who I am, Francois. But in the play, I am Cléante. This is not part of the play. But in moral matters, my greatest win is knowing what is good and what is sin. Did I tell you? I'm talking to my brother. Well, not my brother. He isn't on the stage yet. But Cléante's brother. The brother of the character I am playing. He isn't here. My brother is here, but he's not here. Yet he will be. But Cléante's brother isn't here. He would be here, but we don't have someone who can play him. But I'm pretending that Cléante's brother is here. That's what acting's all about, I hear. I am Cléante, even though I am still Francois. You know me. I just have to tell you these things because Cléante isn't on stage yet, and neither is my brother. Usually in a play, you don't explain these things, but there are only 3 of us, and, well, we just can't act out everything. And since I know of no one more prestigious than a man who is truly religious, then really nothing could be worse than a man who wants you to reimburse him for the things he should freely give. If his morals were a thing, he could truly live. Such people are not worth contacting who spend their lives only acting. Acting. I know I said I was acting, but Cléante is talking about another kind of acting. See, the man he's talking about is named Tartuffe, and he only pretends to be a good man. He just acts like one. Not like I'm acting. I'm playing a part in the play. He is, well, we would call him a hypocrite. Your language doesn't have a word for that type of person. You are lucky. Ah, but listen if you can, and you will hear the footsteps of Marianne.
Ah, Frosine, how I feel very strange. And I dread this meeting we've arranged.
Cléante. Marianne, tell me the truth. Are you anxious to wed this man, Tartuffe?
Harpagon! Frosine, you know my father has made a bargain that I should marry la fair Harpagon.
I'm not Frosine.
Francois?
Cléante.
Ah, Cléante! I don't wish to be mean, but you are not yet in this scene. I know I wish that we were married, but that dream must be dead and buried. I don't wish to give you a scare, but my fate is that I must wed La Fair.
La Ver? Not that one. This is Tartuffe.
You said we were doing Moliere's best comedy.
Tartuffe.
La Fair.
I'm sorry. There seems to be something we haven't anticipated.
Yes, instead of just one play, we'll be performing 2 of them at the same time.
2 of them?
Well, yes. They both have my character, Marianne, who is supposed to marry someone who she doesn't want to marry. And they both have a young man named Cléante. And they're both Moliere.
Yes. So it will be. Except for one thing.
What's that?
There is no word for la ver.
Well, what do you call someone who always wants more than he is supposed to get?
Well, I'm afraid they might be called a fur trader.
Let's just say he is a greedy man. And on with the show.
Thank you. My sincere thanks to all our Kansas City arts leaders who took the time to read for us tonight. We thank all of you who supported Casey Moliere 400 in 2022 by joining us on tonight's Zoom. We hope that all of you will be with us in person 1 year from today with our Once in 400 Years festivities. Before we move on to some socializing, Don Dagenet would like to say a special thanks to those of you who freely and voluntarily donated to our huge, multifaceted undertaking. Don is among Kansas City's most ardent supporters of the arts. He has served on boards or volunteered for organizations in music, opera, dance, theater, and puppetry. We're so proud and grateful to have him on Moliere's team as our fundraising chair. After Don speaks, you may immediately unmute yourselves and make yourselves visible. Nicole will be ready to facilitate the breakout rooms if you'd like to do that. And now I wish you a fond au revoir. Don?
Thank you very much, Felicia, and to everybody for really the outstanding, phenomenal performances we've seen tonight. The same level of artistry that we've enjoyed tonight will be brought to all of Kansas City, beginning this fall and throughout the spring of 2022 as the Moliere programs bring the genius of Moliere to all sorts of audiences throughout Kansas City. So obviously, Felicia and her board and volunteers are donating all their time, but we do need to pay the professionals, and there are some costs involved in doing all of this. And we really appreciate those of you who have already recognized the value of this festival to Kansas City and have already supported what's gone on so far. That it will take more. And so we thank you for your continuing support, and for those who are just now realizing the wonderful kind of artistry which we'll be bringing to Kansas City. So thank you for doing that. The online donation information has been posted throughout the evening by Chantal and Nicole. Thank you very much for doing that. You can also check the website if you'd rather send in your donation that way. However you do it, we are deeply appreciative to all those who donate and support this cause and help pay our professionals to bring this kind of wonderful art to all of Kansas City throughout the Moliere Festival. So thank you again, and please donate, and we appreciate every bit of help you can give us.
Thank you. Oh, hi, Richard. Good to see you. So if you want breakout rooms, Nicole can manage that. It's just so good to have everyone here. Thank you.
And if you'd like to show your appreciation, please post in the chat, say hello, and thank you to the board and committee, and especially to Felicia. Congratulations on such a beautiful evening.
Thank you. Thank you, Nicole.